Hello, everyone, and welcome to the now monthly edition of Live from the Adelphi PAC Living Room. My name is Blythe Thalong. I am the Executive Director of the Adelphi University Performing Arts Center. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some time with Adelphi. Now, while we're on our summer break, we continue to use this show to bring Adelphi's talented students, faculty, alumni, staff, and other guests to you each and every month. Now, on this episode, I will be speaking with Department of Music alum Ryan Kloss, who will be sharing some recorded performances as well as performing live. And then later in the show, I will have some announcements regarding the upcoming season at the Adelphi PAC as we welcome back in-person audiences this fall. But first, a few weeks ago, Adelphi kicked off our 125th anniversary year with an in-person and virtual gala in the newly renovated University Center. Now, because of the change in format to the gala, we were able to showcase two recent alumni in performances live at the gala. So to kick things off tonight from that event, here is Dory Jo Gutierrez from Adelphi's class of 2020.
Jean, baby, LA lady, seamstress for the band, pretty eyes, pirate smile, a merry music band, ballerina. Dancing in the sand. Now she's in me, always with me, a tiny dancer in my hand. Jesus freaks out in the street, handing tickets out for God, turning back, she just laughs, the boulevard is not that bad. The piano man, he takes his stand in the auditorium, looking on. She sings his song, the words she knows, the tune she hums. Oh, how it feels so real, lying here, no one near, it's only you, and you can hear me, and I say softly, slowly, hold me closer, tiny dancer, count the headlights on the highway, lay me down in sheets of linen. You had a busy day today. Oh, hold me closer, tiny dancer. Oh, count the headlights on the highway. Lay me down in sheets of linen. You had a busy day today. Blue jean baby, LA lady, a seamstress for the band, pretty always in me, always with me, tiny dancer in my hand. Hold me closer, tiny dancer. Count the headlights on the highway. Oh, lay me down in sheets of linen. You had a busy day today. Hold me closer, tiny dancer. Count the headlights on the highway. Lay me down in sheets of linen. You had a busy day today. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, President Reagan.
And thank you again to Dory Joe for that great performance. We will see another performance from that event from another of our alums at the end of this show. So next up, it is my pleasure to welcome from the Department of Music class of 2015, Ryan Kloss. Hello, Ryan.
Hi, Blythe. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
I am all right. Thank you so much for being here. How is everything with you? That's a very generic, open-ended way to start things.
It is, yeah, but no, I think it's a pretty great way to do it. There's so many possibilities of answering. You know, everything's really coming back into full swing. All these live performances are really starting to kick up. There's a lot of opportunities that are presenting themselves, that everyone's just really, really hungry for these live performances as an audience member and as a performer, to just get out and go there and socialize and do things and see live music and the arts in general. It's really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, as much as I thought and knew how much I had missed all that, it isn't until you're actually back in a room with a bunch of people watching a show or a concert that you really realize, like, oh yeah, this is a whole thing that I really was missing more than I even knew, you know. So it is good. Now, I know it's been about 5 or 6 years since you were at Adelphi. I think 6. So give us the brief update on what you have been up to since you left Adelphi and since you graduated, and what you're working on now. I know you have a lot of different projects going, but fill everybody in on where you've been.
Sure. Yeah, the abridged version. While I was at Adelphi, I was there doing a bachelor's program in lute studies. I was really the Renaissance lute was my primary instrument, and I was really focused on the cultural aspects of the time, the history that went into it, and all how these little composers would all sort of interact with each other, as well as the other musicians that they had. And I've kind of been continuing that since then. I've been very involved with the Lute Society of America. We've even started a local New York chapter that I'm in charge of. So if you're interested in lute things, please send an email my way.
Great.
Since there's the Renaissance lute, and going on to Baroque lutes and the Theorbo, the bigger one, which is really great. And even these smaller ones that existed at the same time, the Renaissance guitar and the Baroque guitar, which kind of led the way to the guitar that we have now. And it's cool because their music is really parallel with everything that I've studied and learned. But the way that those instruments interact with each other is really closer to like real rock and roll folk music roots, which has just made it so much fun, and it's really exciting to be a part of it. I'm trying to share that with everybody too.
Great. And so, how exactly are you doing that? How do people interact with you? Are you performing places? Do you do stuff in schools? I'm sure it's a little bit of everything. But how are you able to make that work?
It is. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Lately, I'm really excited because one thing that I'm going to work on, and I'm bringing it around a lot this summer, is the Baroque guitar. I'm going to be bringing that around, and I'll be playing with dancers and various percussion performers, like people on the cajon and even full drum kit, and even some people with some other mismatched instruments jumped in there too. I've been working a lot with the Balam Dance Theater company, and they do these really amazing crossovers between American, well, I guess more classical Western dance traditions, and really influenced by these Balinese dance traditions too. And they get some really fascinating ideas and cool, exciting gigs that bring in audiences in different ways, like the costuming and the staging and the way that they bring everyone down for the performers are on the same level as the audience too. And that's a whole other level of engagement that just, you really feel it when you're there. You know, like you said,
Sure.
you don't know that you miss it until you're in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is both of those things are a great segue into this first performance, that it's almost as though you knew what was going to happen. But this first performance that we're going to see, that is something that you did with the Balam Dance Company, and you are playing the Baroque guitar.
Yes.
So tell us a little about this first performance that we're going to see, and kind of what this project, a little more about what this project was, and then we'll watch this first piece.
Sure. The one with the Baroque guitar is the Fandango.
Yes.
That was a great one to work on. The Fandango is we call them grounds in early music, but it's something really akin to nowadays when you have a couple of musicians get together and you say, oh, well, let's play a blues in A, and everybody just sort of picks up their instrument and they know a blues. The Fandango was a great little chord progression at the time that everybody knew, and it was really a dance piece that even sailors and other military men, when they would go around, and these explorers, they'd bring this dance around. So it started in Spain, it made its way to South America, it made its way to, in the New World, it made its way west, it made its way east. And with the Balam Dance Theater, we did a nice little crossover. This particular Fandango was composed by a guy from Peru, Maestro Matias, and Carlos has some great little castanets, Spanish influence in there too for the heritage of it, with some nice little shoe rhythm percussions too, which is really paying homage to the original dance.
Great. Well, let's take a look at this performance that is you and one of the dancers from Balam Dance Theater. Enjoy, everybody. Nicely done. Nicely done.
Thank you.
A fun little piece and a great thing from a whole bunch of performances you did with them. We're going to see another one of those in a little bit. But you talked a little bit about the Baroque guitar and the Baroque guitar and what that is. And we obviously saw that there in that video and how that's played. And so tell us a little bit about sort of the history of that instrument and what makes it different from the more traditional or more current guitar that people are used to seeing, like we saw Dory Joe playing earlier. And
right.
kind of what makes those, what the difference is there, other than obviously the size.
Right. Well, with bigger size comes more strings is a big part of it too. Earlier, so this is the Baroque guitar, right? Before that was this little tiny thing called the Renaissance guitar, which is actually tuned identical to a ukulele. So many people think that the ukulele and the guitar are actually separate instruments, but the ukulele is a really early guitar, kind of frozen in time from this little tiny island that some sailor allegedly got lost in some small island, and then he played for the king, and the king gave him the nickname ukulele, which translates to jumping flea, meaning that his fingers would jump around so fast from one spot to another. And because, well, nobody really left that island until like 1942 when, we found it and it became part of America. It's Hawaii now, so it really became the ukulele. That Renaissance guitar, when it was stuck in Europe, stayed, and then it expanded. And I have my guitar here, and I'll show you. It is a little smaller in size, but now it's got 5 strings, which are the first 5 strings of a regular classical guitar, where I'm just missing the low E. So we have E, B, G, D, and A. And very much like the ukulele, the strings are a little bit inside out, where the highest strings, the lowest sounding strings aren't really the ones on the bottom. So it's a little bit backwards in that way. So there's your D minor chord for all you guitar players at home. D minor, A, and D. And as this one continued, there was a whole little bit of a feud. It became really popular in Spain, so the Baroque guitar became La Guitarra Española. And you hear those very cool sort of Spanish techniques because they're the only country who really rolls their R's. So you roll your chords to sound like you belong with the people. And then later on, I think it was the Germans and the English who really added the 6th string for the low one for the guitar that we know now, before the strings changed to be metal, which is the one that Dory Joe had. Would be the string guitar with steel strings, versus these, which are made from, I don't think you can see it on the camera, but they are made from sheep's guts.
Great.
Yeah.
Always, it's always interesting to hear, kind of the evolution of those and how one instrument influences another, and the way that they sort of turn into the different sounds that you get from them. I think that, and also just like, it looks like a guitar, but the strings are laid out differently. The sounds are in a different place. It's going to sound different because of the shape and size and all those things. So, and how we get from one place to another. So I think you are going to share some more of the Baroque guitar with us by playing a piece live for us on the show, which we haven't done in quite a while. So I'm gonna drop out and let you take over.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, the piece that I'm gonna play for you is a piece that's called it's titled a chaconne, because a chaconne, like the fandango, is this set progression that was already something that people knew. You could go up to another musician and say, "Hey, you want to play a chaconne in G?" And they go, "Nah, how about a chaconne in C?" And everybody knows the chords of what to do. So this particular chaconne is from Francois Lecoq, who is a Belgian fellow.
Nicely done.
Thank you. Thank
Nicely
you.
done. Well done. Thank you so much for sharing that and showing a little bit about what the instrument can do and of the music that you're so into and doing so much to preserve and showcase and share with other people. I think it's really great that there's ways to kind of keep this stuff going. Now, we've talked a lot about this particular instrument, and but in this next piece that we're going to show, you are playing a very different instrument. Carlos is back in a very different outfit than he was wearing before. But before we get to that, tell us about the instrument that we're going to see and what the background is behind this.
Sure. So the instrument you're going to see is it's got a few different names to it. Really, it's the later lute. As the Renaissance lute continues, and it plays along with various other instruments. You learn sort of in your early music history classes that the lute, because the bass range wasn't so strong, that it's typically accompanied by a viola da gamba or another bass instrument. So, but you can see this progression that as time goes on, they just, much like the guitar, we've got 4 strings, now we've got 5 strings and 6 strings until, depending on what genre you're into, 7 and 8 strings on a guitar nowadays too. The lute had 4 or 5 strings in its really early days, and then 5 and 6, 7, 8. Very quickly, it went to 10, 11, and 12 strings to the point where to make the strings so thick, they couldn't do it anymore. So they had to add a whole second neck to it, which is really interesting. It makes the strings so long, and it really lets the bass resonate. In French, they call it a tiorba. In Italian, they call it the chitarrone. In English, we call it a theorbo. But at my grandmother's house, we say it's this thing. Way out.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's always the best way to say it, because when you see the thing, it just shoots way across the room.
Yeah, it is a very, very tall piece of instrumentation. So tell us about the piece that we're going to hear, and anything we need to know about this particular piece of music and the collaboration again with the Ballroom Dance Theater and the same dancer Carlos once again.
Mm-hmm. Sure. This particular piece of music is it's a pretty well-known one, but it's still one that a lot of people shy away from playing out in public, as much from from Hieronymus Kapsberger, as his German name was, and Giovanni Kapsberger as he moved to Italy. He was one of the first guys to really, play this thing and really play it well. It's got this whole second row. Like I said, it's the second neck of just these bass strings that you have to tune according to the scale. And there's these 6 main strings, which, much like the ukulele or the Baroque guitar, have this kind of inside-out tuning for when you get long enough, those strings are going to snap. So the ones you think are the high strings are actually buried in the middle somewhere. He wrote this great toccata called the Toccata Arpeggiata, and it's a series of arpeggios that he gives little to no instruction to. They're just written out as block chords, one after another. He tells you where to put the fingers, how much time that chord should take, and kind of leaves it up to you how you want to divide your high notes and your low notes. So it's a lot of researching, playing around. And if I played it today, I might play it a little different than I might play it tomorrow because, the mood strikes me in just such a way. So it's a little improvisatory in that way. And Carlos has a dance that reflects that, whereas there's a lot of room for improvisation. And his costume, as you'll see, has that Balinese dance costume influence, and we were talking about it, and there's leaves involved, and the shaking of these leaves and just where they are and the direction of them can guide him in different ways, and it's really interesting to work with.
Great. Well, I am looking forward to sharing this with everyone. So here is another piece from Ryan and Carlos. So I mean, it. What do you even say?
Right? It's a big one, and the costume. It's a visual spectacle all across.
Yeah, it's great, and the location is really wonderful too. Where is that?
Um, I want to say it's in a church on 31st Street in Midtown, somewhere, something like that. It was part of a concert series that we got invited to perform in. The Gotham Early Music Series has this every Thursday. They do a concert right around lunchtime. So it was part of their series, and they picked these wonderful, beautiful churches, and the acoustics in the room are just so great. And because they're all really great old churches, the backgrounds are just
right.
So great.
Yeah, it's so nice, especially for that kind of music, because it kind of, you feel like you're in the right kind of place to be listening to it and that sort of thing. So it's great. I mean, even if it's historically not the right kind of place, whatever, but it has that sort of feeling. So thank you again so much for being here. I am going to encourage people to head to your website, which is as simple as ryancloss.com. On there, you have more information about the work you do, in particular, the work with your group, Early Music Long Island, and the performances that you guys do, as well as the New York chapter of the Lute Society of America and the work you do with them, along with all kinds of other great things that you're up to. I know you've updated it with some performances you have coming up in the fall and some events you have going on that people can come to and see you in real life and see these performances. Is there anything specific you want us to look out for that you have coming up?
Anything, I can't think of anything specific. The Early Music Long Island is kind of a nice little, anybody can come and join and play on, like I said, these little progressions that everybody just knew. I usually print them out on some papers, and it's kind of an amalgam of whoever shows up and who's in tune. If anybody wants to play, we're going to start picking that up in September for big group play-ins. If anybody wants to be a part of it, just for the fun of it.
Great. Yeah. Nice.
I'm going to keep more about that on the website, and I'll try to put more
and especially, especially since everybody's been just home doing those kind of things by themselves, to be able to be back and play with other people and be in a group. I know I saw Susan at work today, and she was excited because she had her first rehearsal with the orchestra she's a part of tonight in the past year and a half, and she was just excited to be playing an instrument around other people again. So right. I think there's a lot of that going to be happening certainly over the next few months. So thank you again for being here and for sharing this stuff with us, and good luck.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. This is great.
Absolutely. Great to see you. And thanks again. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. And thank you again to Ryan for being here and for sharing that with us. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, it is our summer break. So things are very quiet around the PAC and all around campus, but we are working hard on planning for our upcoming season. Now, tickets aren't on sale yet, but we have some great things headed your way, all with in-person audiences. We are very excited to be welcoming people back to the PAC. A lot of places are just happy to be performing again. I am happy to say that we have had performances almost nonstop for the past year. We just weren't able to have audiences there with us when we were doing them. So we are thrilled to be able to welcome audiences back starting in September with our shows this fall and throughout the upcoming year. So I want to give you some highlights of things that are coming up. We will be officially announcing these things very soon. Tickets aren't on sale. None of this is on the website yet, but I just wanted to give you guys a sneak preview of what is to come. So the Department of Theater will be presenting 2 plays this fall. The first is the critically acclaimed off-Broadway play The Wolves by Sarah DeLapp. This is about a women's soccer team. This is our first show by the theater department. It will be live and in the Black Box Theater. And then in November, we will be doing our main stage Olmsted show, which will be the home to a production of Sense and Sensibility. Now, this adaptation by Kate Hamill of the Jane Austen novel was a big hit just a few years ago when it was produced by the Bedlam Theater Company here in New York. Our faculty member, John McDermott, was the scene designer for that production. He received a lot of praise specifically for his set and how they used that production in terms of this very unique retelling of this story. He will be our scenic designer for our production of this as well. So we're really looking forward to having that go on. Our Department of Dance will welcome audiences back and be able to perform without masks, which they are very excited about. The guest choreographer this fall will be Mark Morris. Now, a representative of his company will be here with us and working with our dancers in the fall to stage his popular work called Gloria, that is set to Vivaldi's Gloria in D on our dancers. So he's not creating a new work, but we are happy to have the Mark Morris Company here to restage one of his pieces onto our dancers. This is an excellent opportunity to perform a work created by this acclaimed choreographer and for our dancers to work with people from his company. And then the Department of Music is anxious to have all of their ensembles back and able to rehearse together in person. They really have been affected almost more than our dance and theater departments in this past year, since they have been almost exclusively virtual for the past year, because of course, blowing into instruments or singing into each other's faces is the last thing that people have been able to do for this time. So this year, one highlight of each semester is always our Best of Broadway production. So Best of Broadway this year will be part of Adelphi's Spirit Weekend, which will be returning. And to make things extra special for the return of Best of Broadway, we are going to be welcoming a guest performer from Broadway to perform with our students as part of that show. So they will have a special guest artist as part of the traditional thing where most of the performance will be our students. It's a really great opportunity for them to shine, but we're going to have a really special guest to make this an extra special, and reason for me to say special 10 times in 30 seconds. But more details on that is to come. That's going to be in October. And then in terms of guest artists, speaking of, we will be welcoming classical ensemble Imani Winds as an ensemble in residence, and we'll be welcoming back the internationally award-winning Greater Nassau Chorus in the fall, as well as some other ensembles in the winter and spring. And then our Larson Legacy concert series will continue on to showcase up-and-coming musical theater composers as we bring recipients of the Jonathan Larson grants to campus. This is our, I think, 6th or 7th year of doing these concerts to showcase these folks. And so in September, we will be welcoming the fantastically talented Benjamin Velez. He will be here right at the end of September. This is actually one of our very first events of the fall, so we are thrilled to be doing that. And then in December, we'll be welcoming husband and wife duo, the Bengsons. They've had a lot of really great success off-Broadway with a number of shows, both at New York Theater Workshop, Ars Nova, and other venues all around New York. They are really fantastic, and I'm looking forward to welcoming them to campus in December. These concerts are a really great opportunity to see really the future of musical theater and to get a chance to interact with these great artists in such a small and intimate venue of our Olmsted Theater, where Jonathan Larson himself used to perform and went as a student. So 2 more recipients of these Jonathan Larson concerts will be announced in the coming weeks as they announce the new recipients of the Jonathan Larson grants. I think that is supposed to be happening sometime either this month or next, and we'll be featuring those artists in the spring. So we're very excited there. And then our popular Pool Family Broadway series will return as we welcome back Tony-nominated Broadway star Norm Lewis with his Christmas show. He is a huge Christmas guy. He's a big fan of Christmas. He does Christmas concerts every year for the last 5 or 6 years, I think, at 54 Below, including a virtual concert just this past year. He has a Christmas album that he put out a few years ago. He is super Christmas. So as I was looking for a great show for us to do at the holiday season this year, he was an easy choice. Luckily, he said yes, even though he will be on Broadway this fall in the play Chicken and Biscuits that he is starring in, along with a fantastic cast of people. But he is going to take the night off to come out to Adelphi on Saturday, December 17th, or Friday, December 17th. This is wrong. but it is Friday, December 17th, to share the holidays with all of us. And finally, I am excited to welcome back the talented and popular Mike Super. He thrilled a sold-out house in the fall of 2019 and was supposed to be back with us again with an all-new show in the fall of 2020 to do the same. So I am happy that we were able to just push that a year and welcome him back this November instead with an all-new show, all different magic than what he did when he was here the last time. He is a fantastic performer, is really engaging. We had a sold-out house and everyone really loved it. So here is a quick taste of his performance from one of his appearances on America's Got Talent a few years ago. Enjoy.
Think of somebody you have an emotional connection with.
Okay.
Okay? Don't say it.
All right.
Just a first name.
Okay.
Somebody I couldn't possibly know. Okay?
All right.
Now, I have here 2 blank chalkboards. Okay? I'm using chalkboards, that way you know it's analog. There's no digital electronics, nothing like that, okay?
Okay.
So watch, hand me the chalk. I'm literally going to just place it between the boards. Hold on like that, sealed, so I could do nothing. And think of the name as you tilt left and right.
Think, Howie.
Think. And stare at those chalkboards. Now, I want to include some randomness. Can we get Nick to come out here? Would you be okay with that? Yeah?
Yeah.
Nick? Good. I'm going to involve mathematics. And Nick, I need you to name a random 2-digit number. Say it out loud.
23.
23. Yes? All right, that's what we're going to use. Remember that. 23. Nick, thank you.
Random.
These were blank a second ago. Can you see some writing?
Yes.
Yes? Truly. Now look, hold those up. That is a zodiac calendar. I'm going to get to that in a second. Random numbers just like Nick's. But Howie, you were thinking of a name.
I was.
No way I could know.
I
No way.
can't imagine
For
you
the
do.
first time, name the name you were merely thinking of for Desmond.
Steve.
Steve.
Whoa. Wow.
Howie, hold on to that. Truly no way I could have known, but I want you guys to take a close look at these numbers because this is a zodiac calendar. Nick gave us a number 23, right?
Right.
These look like random numbers, but it's not. 3 plus 11 is 14, plus 5 is 19, plus 4 is 23, the number Nick gave us. 1 plus 8 is 9, plus 10 is 19, plus 4 is 23. Each row adds up to 23 if you look closely. Howard, what month were you born?
January.
January, that's 1. If you see, Howard's month is right there. What month were you born, Heidi?
June.
June. That is a 6, right there. Mel B. What
May.
month?
5.
5. Howie, what month were you born?
November.
November.
11.
That is 11. Check it out. 11 plus 1 is 12. Plus 5,
17.
plus 6,
23.
23. Desmond has created a zodiac calendar based off of your We Have Had contact. Thank you.
Amazing. Wow.
I can't explain what just happened.
That's freaky.
That was freaky.
And that is a small taste of Mike Super, who will be here in November with a full show. We are thrilled to welcome him back. And we have so much more to announce, but not quite yet. So all that will be coming soon. We have some really, everything I've talked about is solely in the fall. I haven't even gotten to the winter and spring yet, but we will save that for another day. So take a moment. Like I said, none of this is on our website yet. We will have some mailers coming out soon. We'll have some email announcements. Tickets will go on sale later in the summer. But so I encourage you to head to our website. And if you are not already signed up for our mailing list, be sure to sign up for our emails and our actual physical mailing list. We'll be sending some pieces out to be sure you are among the first to know as soon as tickets are on sale. And as we start to announce more and more performances in the coming weeks, as we welcome everyone back to the PAC starting this fall. And with that, we are almost at the end of another episode. Thank you all so much for joining us and for being here. I look forward to seeing you in real life in just a few months as we have things back. But I will be back here for another live from Adelphi Monday show that is now monthly, thankfully. We'll be back on, I'll be back on Monday, August 16th with the next edition of the show. We have one more performance, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show tonight, from the Adelphi Gala to close us out. But for now, please stay safe, stay healthy, make sure you get vaccinated, get all of your shots, encourage your friends and family to do the same. And I will see you again on August 16th. And so now enjoy this performance from Ani Jajirian from the class of 2016 from Adelphi's Gala. Have a great night, everybody.
You're broken down and tired of living life like a merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we're gonna walk it out. And mountains, we're gonna walk it out. And mountains, and I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. I'll rise up high like a wave. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you. When the silence isn't quiet and you feel like it's getting hard to breathe, and I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll bring the world to its feet and move mountains, bring them to its feet and move mountains. Yes, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, oh, for you. All we need is hope. And for that we have each other. And for that we have each other. We will rise, we will rise, we will rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again.